So an employer who's sleeping with his employee, we know this is predatory, and everyone disliked him, but as soon as he won the case, everyone was like, yes, that woman's an idiot. And I'm just like, you shouldn't do stuff like that. And I get the kind of feeling that you might be annoyed with someone because it's like, hey, don't say someone assaulted you when they didn't, because it makes us all look bad when it does happen. I still believe her. I just think she doesn't have proof of it. Again, because if a man's already abusive enough to be your employer and also sleeping with you, then that's a clear pattern of behavior.
The Stefon Diggs trial is a data set for the Sisterhood, and what the data show is that women's solidarity is conditional. The BBL Chef came forward against Stefon Diggs and was met with, she's an old woman, and of course got the full audit of her cosmetic choices while he walked through the whole thing without a scratch. So the women doing the attack are the same ones who post daily about sisterhood and decentering men, and not one of them noticed that they were protecting him while they were busy tearing her apart. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is the reason this is all visible. What this transit does is pull the real behavior of the collective into the open, where nobody gets to pretend they did not see it. So the thing about Aquarius is it does not clean anything up. It just makes things visible. It drags the real operating system of a group into the light. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. This trial gave us one of the clearest examples we are ever going to get, and the whole thing played out in the comment section. The BBL Chef came forward against Stefon Diggs, a man who is exactly the kind of man women warn each other about in private. She was older and had some cosmetic work done, but to me, she did not have them procedures that the culture now treats like a requirement for a woman to be believed. She doesn't have the surgeries. Instead of asking what he actually did, the comment filled up with women calling her old, questioning her motives, and auditing her body. Nobody turned the question on him. Nobody examined the situation he created. It was just a woman getting picked apart for not looking young enough or enhanced enough to qualify for support, while Stefon Diggs walked through the whole thing untouched. Now, here is where it gets uncomfortable. The women in that comment section were the same ones who post daily about sisterhood and decentering men and doing the inner work. And when a real situation showed up that required them to actually do any of that, that is not a character flaw in those individual women. That is an old mental script running underneath everything they say they believe. They could not see it while they were acting on it, and that is what makes it so hard to shift. The script says a woman's worth has an expiration date attached to her youth and her sexual appeal. It says male attention is something you earn through aesthetic labor, and that women who have paid that price get to decide who else deserves access. It says solidarity is for women who pass the test, and if you are partially upgraded and not winning the competition, you are fair game to be dismissed and dismantled by the public. They would never say that out loud if you ask them directly, though. But the comment section is not a survey, and it does not protect anyone's self-image. What the comment section showed is that the gap between what women post and what they actually do when a high-status man is involved is much wider than anyone wants to admit. So, why are we seeing this right now, and why is it so loud? Pluto in Aquarius is the reason, of course. Pluto is the planet that exposes what is hidden, and Aquarius rules the collective, the group mind. When Pluto moves through Aquarius, it forces the unspoken rules of a whole system into plain sight. We are not in a moment where people are becoming worse. We are in a moment where the behavior that was always there is finally impossible to ignore. The Diggs comment section was that moment in action. We also have Saturn in Aries adding pressure to the exact same gap. Saturn does not care what you post. It cares about what you do when your stated values get tested. And a famous man with a female accuser is one of the purest tests available. The behavior that followed that test is the data, and the data is not flattering. Saturn in Aries is the energy that makes it increasingly uncomfortable to live with a big distance between what you say you believe and what you actually do when the pressure is on. Under all of that is Chiron in Aries, which is the wound driving the whole thing. The wound is part of a woman that still needs to be chosen by a man like Stefon Diggs, while another part of her wants to be free of that need entirely. Those two things are at war all the time. The BBL chef did not just make an accusation, she surfaced that wound directly. She showed that a woman who had not paid the full aesthetic price could still stand up and demand accountability from a man that many of those women want access to. An unhealed wound does not respond to that support. It responds with rage aimed at the person who exposed it. Now the outdated model is dying, and that is the only way to make sense of how aggressive the defense of it has become. A belief system that is secure does not need to attack a woman for being older and partially enhanced. It only trashes like this when it knows it is losing ground. The aggression directed at the BBL chef was the sound of an old script fighting to stay relevant while the new one tries to form underneath it. The quieter thing that is trying to be born showed up too. That was a counter voice in that same comment section. One thread that pushed back and named what everyone else was too invested to say. That voice is what the upgrade actually looks like. It does not rank women by age or by how many procedures they have had. It extends solidarity without requiring a woman to pass an aesthetic test first. It looks at the situation like this and asks what he did before it asks what she looks like. And it understands that desire and lack of discipline and messy entanglements are not problems that belong to men alone, because the comment section made it very clear that they do not. The Age of Aquarius doing its actual work. It is not some harmonic shift where everyone suddenly evolved. It is the real behavior of the collective getting dragged into the light where we have to look at it honestly. The question it puts to every woman right now is simple. You find out what you actually believe about sisterhood the moment a man like Stefon Diggs walks into the room and you have to choose between her and him. The comment section already gave us the first round of answers.